Hi, everybody. When a student recently asked me if I could demonstrate how to draw Bigfoot, I assumed he meant the furry woodland creature with size 77 sneakers. But no, he meant the Bigfoot Monster Truck. And I don't know anything about trucks. I don't know anything about cars. I can't identify cars. I don't know a Porsche from a Prius. I can't fix cars when something goes wrong. According to local law enforcement, I can't drive the way I'm supposed to. But when it comes to drawing, I'm always up for a challenge, especially when it's something that one of my students requests. So if you're with me, we will try drawing a Bigfoot monster truck. And I'm going to get started with, of course, the two tires. So I need to draw two two circles, of course. And I'm going to draw them about as large as I can make them and still have them fit on the paper. So I'm going to have the top of my circle right about halfway down. And in the back half of my picture, because of course I have to draw two of them. And I'm going to draw two circles. Now, if you want to use a saucer or a plate or a compass to help you with your circles, that's all right. There's one, and I want the other one to, of course, be the same size or as close as I can get it. Now, when I was at the high school, as a high school teacher, I would sit and I would listen to some of my students talk about cars, and those guys, some of those guys really knew cars. They would say, Mr. G, I have a 6-cylinder engine with dual exhaust and independent suspension and positive traction and limited slip differential. What kind of car do you drive? And I'd say, I drive a blue car with a radio. And that was about it. That was about the extent of my knowledge of cars. But again, I'm always up for a challenge. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and try drawing your two circles. And again, you want them to be so that the top of the circle is about halfway down. And other than that, you want it to be just about as big as you can make them and still have them fit on your paper. Now, my next step is to draw a rectangle. And again, that's easy enough. All I have to do is think about the proportions. So I want it to be about the length of my entire vehicle, of course. I want it to be just above the tires. And I want it so that the top of my rectangle is about halfway between the middle and the top of the paper. So if this is the middle and this is the top, I'm going to come up about halfway. From there, I'm going to draw that line. You can use a ruler if you want to, or you can freehand. I'm drawing a little bit darker than I should, a little bit darker than I ordinarily would, just so that you can still see it. Well, I don't want the body of my truck to look too boxy, so I'm going to give it some curves. I'm going to put a curve right above this tire. And a curve above this tire. And then I'm going to bring the body of the truck a little bit farther down. Just going to continue this curve a little bit lower than my rectangle, and then just draw a straight line. And after I've drawn that, I'm going to erase this curve, or pardon me, this line underneath my curve, and this one right here. I'm going to continue with those simple geometric shapes, and right above the body of my truck, I'm going to draw the cab, and I'm going to make this a very simple shape. It's just a square. So the height of the square is about the same size as my rectangle, the body of my truck. And I'll continue with another simple shape. I've got two circles, I've got a rectangle, I've got a square, so now I'm going to add a triangle. Come forward a little bit of the windshield. So I'll draw a line straight up and straight across, and then from the end of my square right down here, and I don't need this line or this line. Maybe I can keep that, but I don't need this line right here. I'll add another detail that's going to be shaped like a triangle, and then I'll make a second line that goes parallel right over the top and then coming straight down. Well, hopefully it's starting to look more and more like a monster truck. I'm going to add a few details, and hopefully that'll help even more. I'm going to put just a capital letter D right here, make it look like the rear view mirror, and draw the hood, just a curved line that goes just up the windshield just a little bit and then all the way to the front. I'll put a reflector or directional right here on the front and on the back. You don't have to put these details on if you don't want to, but I think they add to the look of the picture. Maybe a door handle. I'll put this line back that I had earlier. I guess I didn't need to erase it. And I'm going to start on the suspension of the truck. With just a square right here. And then a few lines that go from this square to the center of my wheel. Now I'm just going to draw a few ovals above the tire to show the springs, the shock absorbers, like I know what I'm talking about. Like I said, I know the difference between a manifold and a mud flap. But I did look at some pictures as reference, so hopefully the structure of my truck is basically correct. Now I'm going to work on some detail for the tires. I'm going to put another circle inside. And again, if you want to use a cup or a glass or a compass to help you with your circle, I think that's okay. I would probably be better off if I had something to help me with this circle right here. But I'll draw it lightly. Two more smaller circles. Now, if I wanted to, I could stop right here. But again, I like adding detail, so I'm going to put a little bit more. I'm going to put smaller circles at the top and the bottom, the left and at the right, and then right in between the four that I just made. And of course, I want to do the same thing on both sides. There's one on the top, one on the bottom, one towards the back, one towards the front, and then one in between the lug nuts that I've already drawn. Now the last detail that I'm going to put is some tread on my tires. You can do this if you want to, and you can do it any way that you want to. I'm going to put a rectangle on the top and on the bottom, on the back, on the front. I'm going to put one in between each rectangle that I've already made. And then I'm going to put one in between each of those. You can have more treads or fewer treads or no treads at all, whatever you think looks best. But I'm going to finish putting the treads on the front of my vehicle and the back of my vehicle. So you go ahead and you can do that on yours if that's what you want. Well, now I got my tread on my front and my back tires. My Bigfoot is ready for the monster truck rally, or at least it will be as soon as I add some color. So let's do that now. Well, in all the pictures that I looked at online, the Bigfoot monster truck was always blue. But your monster truck can be blue, it can be red, it can be green, it can be any color that you want. And in fact, if you don't want to, you don't even have to draw a Bigfoot truck at all. You can just draw a Bigfoot monster. Big feet. And whatever it is that you draw, I hope that you have fun with your drawing. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to connect with you guys again. And until I do, stay creative, stay safe, stay cougar strong. I'll see you soon.